Good morning everyone. Yep, I've got a few more bulbs that I want to show you all. Before we make a start, I'm going to show you this. Here we have a photocell. Now, these are not an item that is readily seen, but I have got several of these now that came from that collection up north. They relied on light to make them work, and without getting too technical, they were used in applications. I remember one application was to look into a furnace, and if the furnace went out, obviously the light goes out of the flames, and this would activate one of these. But this one, as far as I know, I got it with no markings or anything on it. And I checked up with the Valve Museum, who lists these, and I put it down to a GA16 with a question mark after it, GA16. These were made by Baird, and they were thought they were used in early TV or industrial processes. This is quite a nice one. It's intact as far as I know. It would probably work, but it's in the collection. And what was interesting to note is the price these things fetch now. I was looking in Google, and the auction house Bonham had these several of this type of valve up for sale, and they were talking about £300 to £400. I couldn't believe it. I think prices have gone crazy. And I saw another case. There was a carbon filament lamp. I'm pretty sure they wanted £500 for it. It's just madness. But there we are. As I say, lamps and these old things seem to be a much better investment than putting money in the bank. And these times of much trouble, the value of the pound is obviously dropping, but with these antiques it's going up, I'm glad to say. Anyhow, there we are. It's a photocell. That's what it looks like. You've got your anode and cathode. Only uses 2 pins. The 2 pins at the front are not used. The 2 pins at the back are. You've got your anode and cathode. And there's what it looks like inside. It's got a silvered back. I understand it's quite a rare tube. I've got 1 or 2 of tubes which I will put up. And what I'm doing at the moment is virtually working through this box of unusual bits and pieces from that collector up north. And every time I look in there, I'm surprised at what is actually in there. So anyhow, enough on that. That's the photocell. Now coming more towards more mundane things, we got some neon bulbs. This one I think I picked up recently. It was advertised on eBay, so I thought, well, I've got to have it. It's another example of a type of small neon. These are about half a watt. It's got on the side, the only indication on the side is 220 volts, which would suggest to me it was probably either made on the continent or further afield, China or somewhere like that. What I do notice, and I've just noticed it now, is the underside of the base and those concentric circles. That tells me it comes from the Far East. I don't know why, but invariably lamps that have got this sort of ring effect made up of concentric circles have come from the Far East, Japan and places like that. So that's where I think this has probably come from. It's quite well made. The electrodes are a bit grubby, but it's probably due to age. It's quite old. I think they call it new old stock. Now the other ones we've got are these ones. This is by Atlas. Atlas was under Thorn lighting at one time. And it tells you 200 to 250 volts. It probably says half a watt. I know these are half a watt. And this one's actually coloured. There's the colour. Lime green. There's obviously a coating on the inside of that lamp which makes the neon arc or neon glow into a green glow. It's not very bright, but it shows up. If I can show you the innards. No, unfortunately the innards are not clear through there at all. And the other one, well, I've got three of those. Two are lime greens, and this one is light red. And that really is just a normal neon with a coating. It comes on, as I say, light red, which is the colour. I don't know if we can see inside there. Can we see inside there, I wonder? It's not the normal setup of anodes. That's what it looks like inside. They look like wire electrodes. Normally this type of neon you'd expect it to be a round section and the other section to be a disc. But in this case it's not. Anyway, so I'm going to make this a very quick video. We've got an unusual bulb. I say unusual. It's American GE 75 watt 125 volts. And when you look at the size of it, you wonder how they make that kind of wattage work in such a small glass. I haven't tried it at all. As far as I know, it is a worker. But a lot of these collection lamps I haven't lit up. It's got a number there. I'll have to see if I can trace that number in my book. Anyway, there's the bulb. It's not enormous, but it's quite a high wattage. Now the next little group of lamps are projector type lamps. Here we have a projector. You'd burn this that way round. That's why it's got that top there. You'd always burn them that way around. They would go into, say, an early projector or a slide projector. It's got a name on there, I believe. There's the information around the outside. A1 stroke 16, a number, made by Atlas. So we've got another Atlas lamp there. Up next we got like a lamp with a valve base. This is by Philips, Belgium. There's the number. It's 150 watts. At 240 volts. So it's mains voltage, 150 watts. And these in the 70s, I suppose, 70s, 80s, were quite popular as a projector lamps again. And they too would go that way round. That is a worker. You can see the filament's all intact. Now we've got a quartz halogen type lamp here. There's the normal valve type base. I might have shown these in part before, I'm not sure. If I have, I do apologise. There's the data there, it's by Philips. And the information is written along there. Once again, that would be put that way round the operating. So I'm going fairly fast today. We got another halogen lamp made in England, I think. Yeah, made in UK. And that's by Atlas as well. You've got the A1, the number there, which designates the type of lamp and what it was used for. And once again, projector type. Show you another one. All the same type of base or cap. That one, you've got a little reflector behind the actual filament grid, and also it goes that way round, and it's made that it would plug in with that side facing the actual lens, so you've got there the best quality and the best light. You've got that reflector at the back. That too's a worker. There's the number on the top there. I think that says 1000 watts. A1 stroke 242, is it? The number on there. UK was obviously made over here. I don't know if it shows the wattage or the voltage. It's got the wattage. Yeah, it's 1000 watts. 1000 watts at 240 volts. In working order, it's not blown at all. Now this poor thing has got one of its pins broken. I don't know why I didn't do that, but one of the contacts have been broken. It can be extended. You could solder a bit of stiff wire on there so that it could still be used. It's not blown. And once again, it's type that's got a little reflector behind the filaments. This sort of grid filament. Got a name on there. See if we can see what it says. I'm using a different camera today as well. My other camera, and you might have noticed it with the last video I put up, it was cut short. I don't know why. It just suddenly said, I've had enough. It turns itself off, and I'm left expecting it to go through, and it's cut out. So I don't know why it's doing this. So today I'm using a different camera. It's not a high definition one, but that doesn't matter. As long as you can see the things, that's the main reason for showing these. I don't know if there's a name on that one. This I think is quite an old one because it's got that. There's actually a piece of metal loose inside there. You can probably see it shaking about. It's either been knocked or dropped. I don't think that's part of the filament, so it probably still will work. It's just a bit of the metalwork's dropped off inside. Same type of top. It would once again it would go in that way. Anyway, the last one to show you today. Well, I will show you another item. It's not a bulb. Here we have a different type of base. Quartz halogen again. As you can see, I'm touching all these with my hand. If they were about to be used, you'd have to clean the envelopes with methylated spirits or spirits to remove any oil that comes off your skin, because as these operate at a very high temperature, it could do actual damage to the quartz glass. There's the data on it. It's Philips, made in Holland. There's the code on there, 2D, that tells you when it was made. 2 volt, 240, 250 volts, 500 watts. So it's fairly bright. And there's the filament arrangement, all intact. And that too would go that way round. For some unknown reason, there's no blackening on the top. Whether there was a cap on there, I don't know. There may have been a metal cap, but it's certainly not got one now. Anyhow, that's all the little bulbs today. I'm not going to load you up with a load of bulbs to look at. I'll just show you this. The Photocell came with a pin adapter, and what it did would be to extend the actual pin arrangements. Now the valve would go in like so. It would fit into that base, and the pins would be used to extend it. So it's obviously it was made to extend the fixing pins. That's how it would normally look, but with that on there. And interesting to note, a very famous name. I only noticed that today. Listen, Listen. And people that have tinkered about with these old radio sets. When I say the old radio sets, the ones that had the very old valves, they were normally TRFs. They weren't heterodynes or super heterodyne. They were TRS, tuned radio jobs. They often had valves with 4 pins, and Listen was a name which you often saw on them. They used to make coils and various components for these old radios. And while we're talking about that, another name which I haven't got one here, although I can show you a product of theirs, is the Benjamin. Now Benjamin products were obviously sold over here and across the pond. You see Benjamin lamps in America and various things over here made by Benjamin. This happens to be an ES to a BC converter in porcelain. Anyhow, the reason I mention this, Benjamin were famous for making an anti-micro... Let me explain that better. They made valve holders which were sprung. So as you put the valve in, 4-pin valves normally, the valve would be on like springs, so it would be movable. And the reason for that was to reduce microphonic sounds getting into the valve. And it was they were famous at the time. Now I'm going back a long time, way before I was born, so it was old. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed. Any comments please make. It's nice that these things are looked at. I know I tend to waffle a bit, just that I like talking. I like getting over a bit of information where I can. So if I've done anything wrong or put up something that's wrong, please correct me. I understand, I don't mind being told if I'm doing something wrong. You'll probably say I'm talking too long. Anyhow, I'm going to shut up now, upload these, and thanks again for watching. hopefully this video will go through without being cut short like the last one was. And it's on a camera by Canon, but it's an older one, and I think it's better made than my newer one, but it's not a high definition one with all bells ringing, so to speak. Probably won't even notice it when it appears on YouTube. Anyhow, I'm going to shut up now, and once again, thank you.